team just came out and steamrolled us, and you know, we weren't expecting it. And look, the important thing for City is that they come here, they're focused, they're concentrated, and obviously they don't look too far ahead. There's 90 minutes of a tough game in front of them right now.
Gareth Taylor, 3-0 up, has rotated his side. 5 changes to the 11 that began the first leg. The goalkeeper, Ben Amer, makes her first appearance in September, replacing Ellie Roebuck. The players given a rest: Lucy Bronze, Chloe Kelly, Laura Coombs and the captain Steph Horton. Fiorentina have made 1 change to the 11 that began last week's first leg there, without the influential Claudia Neto in midfield. The Portugal captain was injured in last weekend's defeat to Sassuolo. That's likely to see Sara Baldi drop into midfield, with Scotland international Lana Cleland coming into the side, supporting top scorer Daniela Sabatino in the final third. Fiorentina are again without Italian international centre-back Alice Tortelli through injury. Tessel Midag lines up against her former club today and will be important in the midfield for Fiorentina. What did you make of the fact, Jane, that they have decided to rotate a little bit here, Manchester City? Did you expect that as we see the officials coming out here? I guess he's got to use opportunities with the fixtures come thick and fast to make a few changes, give a few a rest.
Yes, look, I think you're right there. I think Gareth Taylor has to use the squad effectively through the season. There's some big games still to come in this competition potentially for them, and obviously in the league competition. So I think it's a great opportunity for those who are coming in to get some game time under their belt and hopefully impress the manager. And look, and you flip that and you go, well, there's players in this squad who are playing week in, week out, and is it good to give them that rest opportunity? Yes. So potentially a good thing to do, but you know, we'll see at the end of the 90 minutes whether it's the right thing to do.
I guess there is always the temptation as well as a head coach to pick your best side to begin with, get the job done in your mind, and then rest people. But very often we see managers go this way, don't we?
Yeah, look, it's always a balancing act, and what I would say is obviously the head coach, Gareth Taylor, there will know his players better than anyone, and he'll make the judgment call, and he has done, and he'll be hoping that these girls who are getting the opportunity today will impress him.
Fiorentina hoping for something of a miracle here. 3-0 down from the first leg, 6th in the Italian top flight right now. They are the big underdogs, but as Gareth Taylor has said ahead of this, sometimes that can set you free as a player. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain, the Italian side. So important that Manchester City see this through, just as Chelsea did in Italy yesterday. Played that game in Monza against Atletico. It's a potentially tricky assignment which they negotiated and through to the last 8, and City hoping to do the same today. It'd be great for the WSL, and it's ever increasing profile, not just in Europe but worldwide, to have 2 sides in the last 8 of Europe's biggest club competition. Ellen White wearing the armband today. Our referee, by the way, is Esther Staubli, who's from Switzerland. Also works as a university lecturer. Refereed the 2015 Women's Champions League final when Frankfurt beat Paris. And she's refereed at 2 Women's World Cups and in the Men's Swiss Challenge League as well since 2014, so very experienced. Antonio Cincotta is the Fiorentina head coach. Joined their coaching team back in 2016, has been head coach since 2018. Can they get more service into the likes of Sabatino, who can be a real goal threat for Fiorentina, as she's proved right throughout her career, has 11 league goals this season in Italy. I talk about threats, there are plenty of them in this Manchester City squad right now. And they will come in, you would think, although still with a job to complete, relatively relaxed. Things going well both domestically and in Europe. But big games, big weeks ahead in what could yet be the greatest season in their history. Fighting on several fronts. Fiorentina hoping for a truly remarkable turnaround. City would take a calm and routine passage to the last 8. Chelsea safely through to the quarter-finals. The distinct possibility we'll have 2 WSL clubs in tomorrow's quarter-final draw. but still work to do here for City. And they will be taking nothing for granted. Certainly the manager, Jane, Gareth Taylor, has really hammered that home before this match.
Yeah, and look, there are changes within the team, and even looking now where certain personnel are situated on the pitch, it's a little bit different for some of them. Stanway's obviously playing as a right back, which he has done in previous games. A few months ago now, to be fair, but probably unexpected, because most people will know her as a central midfield player. So there's personnel changes, but there's also positional changes in this team today from a Manchester City perspective.
There's opportunities out there as well, isn't there, for several players on the fringes of things to impress. You think of someone like Rose Lavelle, who gets on the ball here. This is Stanway, who then shows her versatility once more today. Intercepted by the Danish international Thorsen. Giuliucci, somebody who is a talented player, an Italian international, but was only really ever on the fringes of the first leg. There'll be several in that Fiorentina side who will feel that they can show more of themselves today, put in a better performance, a more attacking performance. Here's Ellen White with Weir arriving on the edge of the box. Emp's in there as well. Chance to cross for Becky. It's a decent ball. It didn't quite roll for Lavelle. It does get picked up, though, by Walsh, who's found Hemp. City again looking to make a fast start, as they did in the first leg. They were 2-0 up after 4 minutes. Stanway put under pressure by Sabatino. Midag with the challenge that won it back for the Viola. Good intensity about the game in the early stages here.
Yeah, I agree, and better defensive organisation as well from Fiorentina perspective when we think back to the first leg where they were shell-shocked in the first 5 minutes. But I'm saying that, and obviously City are doing well down this right-hand side right now.
Yeah, Becky wasn't quite on the same wavelength as Rose Lavelle, who's been waiting, biding her time for opportunities to impress from the start, and this is certainly one.
Yes, and she actually has an opportunity to impress in central midfield. Obviously we're seeing here just obviously miss pass there, a mistime movement from Lavelle, but look, I believe I'm right in saying the majority of time she's come on to the pitch for City in the last year has been in a wide area, whereas most people will know her from a USA perspective as being a central midfield player. Obviously she can manoeuvre herself and she moves about the pitch particularly well, and we're just seeing her here being brought down. Hopefully she'll be okay to continue, but this is what she's good at, driving at people. She's very technically gifted, very tricky on the ball, and I think we've said a few times in the past that we probably haven't seen the best of her in a blue shirt so far.
She's went aside a free kick in a good position here, Rose Lavelle. Schroffenegger, it is in goal for Fiorentina. Weir standing over this. It may well suit the left boot of Greenwood's as several City players wait for this delivery in. Goalkeeper just fractionally off her line here as Greenwood sent it in and decided to go for goal, but it's a fairly comfortable take in the end for Schroffenegger. It's played in last season's Champions League final. Alex Greenwood came on as a late substitute. Started left of the centre halves against Everton as City again quickly win it back as Walsh looks to drive forward. Might decide to go alone. It was blocked by Quinn. Becky, supported by Stanway. Left by Walsh. Taken on by Greenwood. Important block by Quinn. He'll be so important again in the heart of that Viola defence.
Interesting now to see if we see Fiorentina building from the back again. We are, it is a trend of theirs. Short passing options is their preference to try and play through teams. But look, what we've seen so far in the game is City are obviously aware of that. Their midfield area, they're pressing really effectively, and they've managed to pinch on quite a few occasions already. So obviously we've seen the manager, you're asking them to be calm and be patient when they're building, because they're giving the ball away too easily, aren't they, when they do actually get possession of it.
It's Morgan's pass to Caroline Weir. Greenwood. City reached the round of 16, beating the Swedish champions Gothenburg 5-1 on aggregate. 3-0 up from the first leg in this one. Fiorentina narrowly overcame the Czech title holders Slavia Prague in the previous round. Finished 3-2 on aggregate. It was a good tie, that. Stanway plays the ball back here to Dahlkemper. Now Esme Morgan. Just overhit that for Stanway. What a good start she's made to her City career. Dahlkemper has slotted in brilliantly alongside Horton. There's a good balance about those two when the captain's in the side, and she's got a well-earned rest today. Steph Horton made her 200th appearance for the club at the weekend. Yeah, and look at the level of player that's replacing her. You know, that's the abundance of top-level players that obviously Manchester City have, which is great for them, and it's a good opportunity for Dahlkemper to show what she can do. Ellen White now, just a heavy touch, took it away from her and allowed Louise Quinn to put the challenge in. Stanway. Walsh. Weir. Walsh. Stanway. It's for a handball there. It certainly looked like it to me, but the referee's allowed them to continue here. Referee's view might well have just been obstructed there as Weir plays through. Ellen White unselfishly putting the cross as Becky has a shot that's blocked. And it's all City in the opening 7 minutes here. Yeah, and it's interesting to see how Gareth Taylor's choosing to use his fullbacks today, because they're getting really narrow at times and like an extra central midfield player to kind of overload that area, because look, it's what we expected from a Fiorentina perspective, that back five that's going to be pretty hard to break down, and then that disciplined midfield in front. And we're seeing them now. Obviously their best chance they're still looking at is a counter-attack, potentially to get some goals in this game today. So that's something that we see the City men's team do as well, isn't it? Where sometimes someone like Cancelo will end up almost looking like another central midfielder. Here's Ellen White. Back it goes to Weir. Rose Lavelle waiting on the edge of the box. Back it comes now to Greenwood. Nicely first time by Becky. Stanway gets it back again off Lavelle. Nice football this by City. Hemp, White, great move, fantastic goal. That's wonderful play from Manchester City, a great team goal that finished off by a fine centre forward in the skipper, Ellen White. Yeah, and it really highlights what we were just speaking about. That's Georgia Stanway, right full-back in this game today, being on the edge of the box and starting that combination play. There she is, laying it into Hemp. Great one-touch by Hemp, that good awareness. And then obviously the awareness from Ellen White to realise where she needed to take the first touch. And then good strike, bottom corner, no chance for the goalkeeper. Well, the goal that she got in the first leg was her first in the Champions League since October 2013. That was with Arsenal. That last goal that she'd scored, but his side's task just got that little bit bigger. And City with an away goal, and now 4-0 up on aggregate. And once more they do early damage against Fiorentina. They were 2-0 up after 4 minutes of the first leg. They've had to wait a little bit longer for the opener today, but very much worthy of it. Yeah, look, so far what we see from Manchester City perspective is really organised defensively, managing to pinch that ball back within probably 2 or 3 passes of Fiorentina when they gain possession. So look, from a Fiorentina perspective, it's as we saw last week, really struggling in possession to build much, but they have been better defensively organised in comparison to the first game, especially the start of the first game. But look, City right now are in control again, aren't they? Greenwood found by Morgan. Actually, City, who conceded early in their only Champions League away game of this season, that in the round of 32 at Gothenburg, went 1-0 down after 3 minutes, but equalised through Stanway shortly before half-time, and then Mewis got the winner in the second half. They're looking for a second here at the Artemio Franchi. Pushed away by the goalkeeper as far as Baldi. Walsh. Stanway again, we see her almost coming into a central midfield role and pulled back by the centre forward Sabatino, who's probably feeling very frustrated to see central midfield role and pulled back by the centre forward Sabatino, who's probably feeling very frustrated to see so little of the ball, not just in this game but the first leg as well.
Yeah, and look, it's definite foul, isn't it? And what we're seeing again from the fullbacks from a City perspective, they're kind of creating that box in midfield, aren't they? You know, they're getting in really narrow, the extra two players just outside that midfield defensive organisation of Fiorentina, and they're causing them a lot of problems. You know, it looks like City just have space everywhere to play, which is very different in a way to the first game, where, you know, that block defensively after the first 5 minutes from a Fiorentina perspective worked really effectively. But today, City definitely tactically have this game. They've made the right decisions so far.
Tell us, Jane, from your experience with Arsenal when you won this competition, how much is it about developing nous and knowledge over the years about how to perhaps win tight games, particularly away from home, as Weir looks to drag a ball across? It is playing in Europe is a learning process, isn't it, that a club has to do over several years, as your Arsenal side did?
Oh gosh, yes, definitely. Before we actually managed to pick up the trophy, we were in it for 7 or 8 years, I believe, managing to get to semi-finals, quarter-finals regularly, but not quite getting where we wanted to. Obviously, we eventually did, but it was a lot of learning, because look, there's some good teams out in Europe, and at times we'd come up against teams we knew very little about. Could be different this day and age because of, you know, the access to the female game, but these opponents in Europe, you know, they always bring something different with regards to their understanding the game and how they play the game, not just tactically, but the little nuances as individual players, what they do to you.
And it goes from Greenwood, punch cleared by Schroffenegger, Becky, Weir. Midag trying to win it back, and they have got it back here. Chance perhaps to counter for Fiorentina. Baldi. Cleland's going to chase this. Here comes Benamur. Rare outing for her. Hasn't played for City since September. Her only appearance of the season, that FA Cup quarter-final win over Leicester. Former Paris and Saint-Etienne and Toulouse goalkeeper. Stanway. Lavelle chasing this, and the covering defender is Zanoli. Midak. Fiorentina beaten 1-0 by Sassuolo in the Italian top flight at the weekend. They've now dropped to 6th place in the league. Big win that for City against Everton at the Academy Stadium. Really were made to work for it. Kira Walsh, as we saw, they had a kick-off with the winner in the final 10 minutes of that one. Stanway's forward to take the throw-in. Alan White. And it's the centre forward Sabatino back trying to win possession for the Viola.
Interesting that one was given as a free kick from Rose Lavelle, because I actually thought the one earlier on Ellen White was probably more the free kick, but look, we're far further away than the referee, so we'll go with the referee's decision on that.
Cleland's chasing this, as is Esme Morgan, and the Danish international Thorsen gets a touch. Cleland will hit it, spilt by the goalkeeper, and Sabatino couldn't quite get there before Benamur recovered.
Good break by Fiorentina, and look, Cleland's ended up with quite a bit of space to use, to be fair. Probably could have taken a touch and then different type of finish, but the goalkeeper nearly made a hash of it, but managed to recover just in time there from a City perspective.
Scotland international Lana Cleland has played in Italy since January of 2015. The Viola, her third club in Italy. 66 goals in her first 83 Serie A appearances, but they've dried up of late. Has had injury problems, hasn't scored in her last 12 league games, but there's definitely a very talented player there. Says how much she's grown as a player and a person during her time in Italy. Loves it. Playing out in Europe. Here's Rose Lavelle. Morgan. Dalkemp. Becky looking to latch on to this as Ellen White makes her way into the box. Stanway's arriving in support. And it came off Zanoli, and it will be a corner kick to Manchester City.
Becky is obviously another player that we don't see as much of in the league, or we haven't done this season as in the previous leagues. But look, she's doing really well today. I was surprised not to see her play as the fullback position, to be fair, because we do know internationally and for club, obviously she's a Canadian national team player. She can do both, but good to see her on the pitch doing well today.
Greenwood. Walsh. Across here to Morgan, to Weir. Hamp's come to the edge of the box. Morgan with the pass back to Weir again. They're queuing up in the middle here for City. Saved by the legs of Schroffenegger and behind for a corner.
Well, they're doing really well in those wide areas today, aren't they? Manchester City, obviously, we're seeing Caroline Weir play the ball in here from the left-hand side, but their build-up play in those areas has been really effective, and they're causing lots of problems for Fiorentina down the flanks right now.
Shows the fluidity of the way that City are playing here today as well, that we see one of the centre-halves, Morgan, popping up almost in a left-wing position there, combining with Weir. White makes her way into the 6-yard box. Well, they're appealing for handball. There were big appeals there from Manchester City, and the referee here has given it.
You know, looking back at this, I thought it's Esme Morgan, isn't it? She has lots of time there. You know, she's not really marked, and you look at where the ball has actually ended up. Penalty for you, Adam? What do you think?
Well, the arm is up, but it's come fired straight at her. I guess it's that test of whether it is in an unnatural position, whether it makes the silhouette bigger. The City players quickly appealed, but they have the chance to double their lead here. It's Caroline Weir who will take it up against Schroffenegger. Weir makes it 2 for Manchester City, who are in total control of this tie. Well placed into the bottom corner. The goalkeeper guessing the right way, but was never going to get to that.
Got really well placed, wasn't he? Good left foot strike this. Bottom corner, really tight to the corner. Full stretch goalkeeper would have struggled to deal with that. Really good penalty there from the Scotland national team player, Caroline Weir.
What a great season she's having. She's got 6 goals in her last 7 league appearances. I wondered, would you consider a contender for the WSL Player of the Year, Jane? And I suppose you should also throw in, what about Team GB too? Would she start for Team GB, do you think?
Ooh, do you know, they're good questions, good questions. Like, with regards to Player of the Year, there's a few games left to play so far, and there's lots of good players in that league so far. But look, she would be up there, she'd be a contender. And yes, I'm sure she will be expecting a call with regards to Team GB later in the year.
Starter?
Ooh, well, that's even more interesting. Look, I think when you understand more about how that team wants to shape up, how they want to play and what they need attributes-wise from their central midfield players, then it's probably an easier one to talk about. Right now, it's a little bit of the unknown, to be fair.
Well, I don't envy Hege Riise. Of course, it was announced yesterday will be the head coach of that Team GB, so I'm sure loads of people would like the job, but she's got some very, very difficult decisions to make, and she'll probably upset quite a lot of people as well, no doubt, who will inevitably, big names will have to be left out of that side.
Yeah, look, one of the tough calls she has is obviously it's only an 18-player squad, which is a lot smaller than normal, but it is something that's set for the Olympics, so it is going to be tough decisions there, and I'm sure there'll be some high-quality players who may be disappointed come the summer, unfortunately.
Lavelle.
But from a player perspective, what a great opportunity to try and play yourself into that squad and team right now, you know, with the games left to come in the league and in competitions like this for both English-based teams.
Hemp, who's another one who might consider herself a contender to start. There were 9 City players in the last Lionesses squad, 10 if you include Jill Scott, who's on loan at Everton. Darkemper to Stanway, kept in by Janine Beckett. But this has been a very professional, ruthless performance so far, hasn't it, from Manchester City?
Yes, look, they dominate in possession, which is something they always want to do. Whoever they come up against, you know, they want to control the ball, they want to control the tempo of play, and they are managing to do that. Obviously, they're 2 goals up already, but I'm sure the way they're playing, there could be more goals in this for them.
Greenwood. Reading an interview with Alex Greenwood ahead of this, said that she came back from Lyon where she won the Champions League last season. In her opinion, a better person and a better all-round footballer as well. I was also interested to read, she says she always watches her games back and always listens to what the commentators say about her game as well.
Oh, we're under pressure today. Oh. But that's nice to know. That's nice to hear. No, like I think, you know, you're looking at a generation of player now. The majority of them, from my experience and from what I gather from other coaches, you know, they are understanding the game it's a learning environment for them, and you know, they're very open-minded and they want to grow and they want to learn, and obviously they have good coaches to enable them to do that. We've just obviously seen one there, Gareth Taylor. But they are very much, you know, they're players who want to learn and they thrive on it, and you can see how they develop in short spaces of time, some of them, in particular the younger players that we get to watch within the WSL right now.
Darkemper. Stanway. We're appealing for offside, and the flag does indeed go up on this near side.
Yeah, we just see Fiorentina here, obviously slightly higher in their defensive organisation, with a lot more space to utilise in behind them there, and City trying to do so, but not quite getting the timing right.
That Serie A defeat that they suffered, Fiorentina, against Sassuolo at the weekend, means they've now lost 3 games in a row in all competitions. They had gone 4 unbeaten as Cleland heads white. 4 unbeaten and had won 3 in a row directly before that. That wasn't too far away though from Cleland, who's had their 2 efforts of the game so far.
Yeah, it's a tough task for them today, isn't it? Look, they were always going to be up against it, but now when you look at the scoreline, you're thinking, well, yeah, can they get back into this? Look, they're flipping tactically. Look, they're going after City a little bit higher on the pitch now. Rather than dropping into that low block, they are trying to pinch the ball back a little bit higher. But the problem is for them, by doing that, they're going to open up more space. Right now, if you look at the way the back line is, there's a lot more space behind him to use from a City perspective. But City quite calm, you know, with their game. They're happy to keep possession, move the ball right to left, left to right, and see what spaces open up. There's no panic in their game. They can be patient with their build-up and wait for the right opportunity to open up.
Greenwood. Brought down here by Hemp. Showed too much of it, though, to Torsten. And now it's with Greenwood. Esme Morgan. Rose Lavelle. Walsh. White. Becky. Crossing was a good one, and Rose Lavelle was one of those in there. So was Caroline Weir, who swung a leg at that. They come again here, though, City.
I think they're really effective when they're trying to break down this block. When they play it up to, one of the ACMs or Ellen White, who's dropping in slightly, who then just bounces around the pressure. So they're playing up, they're playing back quickly, and then they've got the third man run happening. And they've been really effective when they've done that to try and break down this back five. It's predominantly happening in kind of wider areas, and they're utilising their fullbacks well, and obviously their wingers well to do that. But we're just seeing Lavelle in there occupying the half space.
Becky with the crossover, as the goalkeeper flapped out a bit, comes across here to Hemp. City seeking a third on the day here. Stanway's found a bit of space and she'll have a go. And it was well blocked by Vigilucci. Hemp just keeps coming straight back at the Viola here to eventually win it back again, the home side. Lay off by the centre forward Sabatino. Baldi.
Greenwood dealing very well in that 1v1 situation there. No panic, able to deal with Baldi probably a little bit too easily, you say, from a Fiorentina perspective. But it's good. Look, it's interesting to see Rose Lavelle play today in that central area, because if I'm honest, of all the games I've seen her take part in this year, it's probably the most effective I've seen her. We speak about her very highly because of the award she's already won in the game. Obviously, World Cup winner, really impressive with the national team. But hadn't quite hit the mark from a Manchester City perspective. But looking at her today, you can see that she's definitely getting back towards her best level. Really effective in how she's bringing others into play when she does manage to get possession of the ball.
She was very good for the USA in the She Believes Cup. Scored that winner against Canada. In fact, was voted player of the tournament. She said afterwards that she felt maybe there were others who deserved it more. Here's Cleland, looking to take on Morgan. Cleland's cross into a decent area, but cleared on the volley by Greenwood. Sabatino's first to it, though, for Fiorentina. And then thought she was fouled by Lavelle, but the referee, Esther Staubley, not interested at all, was she? Hemp now for Manchester City. There will be tougher tests to come for Manchester City in this competition, with the likes of Wolfsburg and Bayern and Lyon, the holders, and Barcelona already through to the last eight. Chelsea through as well. Likely to see Paris complete the job tomorrow against Sparta Prague, as the referee gives a corner here, much to the frustration of the Fiorentina players.
Yeah, it looked like it came off Ellen White, didn't it? And on second look, I think it actually did. We'll see if she changes her mind on that. Ooh, free kick or not? The Fiorentina were expecting it.
I don't think so. I think the referee got that spot on. Not so sure about the corner, though.
No, I'm not sure about this one.
Heading towards that near post. Now drops for Stanway. Greenwood, Stanway. Greenwood, Stanway. And Weir, watched wide by the goalkeeper.
And we've seen her score from those areas many a time, obviously for Manchester City and previous clubs and national team. She likes that long-range shot on the edge of the box there. And, the build-up to this, the moment where Georgia Stanway brought the ball down from the corner was fantastic, by the way. The technical ability she has as a young player is superb.
Becky. Ellen White, who's got Weir arriving on the edge of the box. Hemp's in space here, the angle's tight. And it was well held onto in the end by Schroffenegger.
Oh, good opportunity. Lauren Hemp will look back at that one and be disappointed with that end product, because look, this is a great opportunity. Good awareness from Caroline Weir there, just to lay it off over to our left-hand side, and then, yeah, tight angle. But, I think Lauren Hemp could have done better in that situation.
Scored one and made one in the first leg. An assist for Ellen White's goal. Really has become a big game player, Lauren Hemp, even at the age of 20. In the last years, she's got 5 goals against the top 4 sides in the WSL. It's a handy habit to have that, isn't it? Being able to turn up in the really big games. Certainly no flat track bully, is she? Lauren Hemp.
No, and it's nice to see a young player who's been spoken about for many years as having lots and lots of potential. To see that actually coming out is fantastic.
Rose Lavelle, who was found by Becky. Ellen White waits, and it was straight at the goalkeeper from the England centre forward. Sort of chance that she so often thrives upon that type of service. Morgan, almost half an hour gone. She's been kept busy, hasn't she? Schroffenegger already beaten twice, though, as Hemp looks to go on the outside here. It's going to come all the way across to Stanway. Wilson puts it out of play.
Pressure's building, isn't it? Lots of opportunities for City now getting in and around the box area. There's a tough one for Ellen White to deal with, to be fair, bouncing just as it comes in. So it deals with it really well to keep control of it, but obviously straight to the goalkeeper, so not getting much from that opportunity.
Stanway spotted Becky, and inside she goes, the Canadian international, but got the finish all wrong.
Great first touch by her. The awareness to see that space that was going to open up on the inside. Great first touch, but yeah, you're right. She didn't get that finishing strike right at all, did she? But good movement, you know, good awareness to take the ball inside on this first touch. Sold the defender completely, but then obviously didn't get the finish right.
Big night ahead of Europa League action. Mouth-watering tie at Old Trafford. Manchester United against AC Milan. Early start for that at 5:15. And then we see Slavia Prague, who knocked out Leicester in the previous rounds. They're at home against Rangers. That looks, again, on paper, a fantastic tie. And Arsenal go to Olympiacos, that from 7:30 tonight. We'll also see Jose Mourinho's Tottenham host Dinamo Zagreb. That's on ESPN. Some great ties involving the British clubs. Hemp and White. There's another one. All too easy, this, for Manchester City, who've already equalled the first leg scoreline here with just over half an hour gone in the second leg. Just too good for Fiorentina.
Oh, Fiorentina causing their own problems, you know, losing the ball on the build-up play there, silly passes, but look, great finish in the end from Ellen White, and good decision from Lauren Hemp to take that ball forwards on that first touch and go at Fiorentina, and great finish again from Ellen White. Look, you could say it's in the 6 yard, it's easy, but you know, you still have to control it and you still have to get that direction right, and she manages to do so.
The great thing as well about Ellen White is that at 31 years of age, captain today for City, leads the line for England. She's still saying that she wants to develop, she's still saying that she wants to get better, and as a coach as you are, Jane, that must be music to your ears as a coach.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic. I'm sure the people who work closely with her enjoy that and enjoy working with her to try and develop those key areas that she wants to work on and they feel that she needs to develop. I think she's having a good season. Obviously, it's an important season for her. She'll want to be going on that plane to Tokyo in a few months' time.
What a great example as well to some of the young players that City have. I'm thinking of people like Chloe Kelly and Lauren Hemp. Sets the example. Ellen White, plays like that, invaluable in any squad at any level of football, but you might call that an elite type of mentality, sort of mentality that helps you win trophies, and City are in the hunt for plenty. Walsh. Hemp. Morgan. Stanway. Intercepted by Zanoli, who's a promising young Italian under-19 international. Just really haven't been able to retain possession for any length of time at all, really, in this first half, Fiorentina. Dahlkemper. Really does seem to be a gulfing class between these two sides. Weir. Walsh.
Yeah, we're looking at Fiorentina midfield in particular, working really hard to try and get pressure on the ball right now. It's just not effective how they're pressing, when they're choosing to press. It's not affecting these City players at all.
Cordia got it clear for Fiorentina. Could big thing for Gareth Taylor today would be for City to keep a clean sheet. I was looking back at the records. They haven't kept one in a Champions League away game since they beat Lillestrøm 5-0 in November 2017. So whilst they're safely going through to the last day, they are going to come up against tougher opposition, and being hard to break down, particularly away from home, could prove to be really important. I'm thinking when you're coming up against a side like Bayern or Wolfsburg or Lyon, when you are going to be tested a lot more defensively.
Yeah, you're right. Because the game today so far anyway has proven that, you know, it's a practice for them to play in Europe and be in possession of the ball for a heck of a lot of time, you know, so they're looking at their in-possession game more than anything. Obviously, they have to be aware, they have to get their defensive balance right, because this team is going to try and counter when they get the opportunity, but they're dealing with that very well. But you're right, when they go into the latter stages, which it looks like they will do, they will obviously have to mix the defending and the attacking parts of the games, because there's some strong teams left in the competition.
It's Chelsea, another side that they could come up against. Ideally, we'd like to save that for very late in the competition, though, wouldn't we?
Yes, but you look at the competition now, and I think that the next round's going to be intriguing. There's going to be some fantastic mix-up of games there, I'm sure, and one that I'm looking forward to seeing who can come out on top, who can get to the final this year, because look, there's some top quality teams now in there, and it'd be a hard one to pick who your money would be on right now.
Sabatino, Midak. Do you think the gap has closed in terms of Lyon? We're seeing that in France, aren't we, with Paris pushing them all the way for the title this time?
Yeah, look, it is different domestically for them, something they haven't had to deal with for many years, to be fair. I'd like to think the gap is closing, so that it does become a bit more of that open playing field, and we see the likes of Chelsea and potentially Man City competing better latter stages. Obviously, we've seen the attack here from Fiorentina, but it's kind of summed up their two legs so far. You know, they're managing to get into those final third areas, but not effective when they do so. Great run here, good drive through central areas. Obviously, from a City perspective, could be a bit better organised, but end pass not good enough from Fiorentina.
Stanway, Lavelle, outstretched leg was an important one there from Adami, the captain.
Going back to the discussion on, you know, the latter stages of this competition, who's potentially going to pick up the trophy, I think there's so much talent, really top-level talent amongst those top teams now that it's... look, what I would say is they're going to be great games. Whoever you're watching, they're going to be great games now, the level of teams that are left in it.
Hemp, who was found by Weir against Tourson. Hemp's ball back to Morgan. Pulled back by Walsh on Sabatino. It's going to be a talking to here for Walsh. She'll be lucky if she escapes a yellow card for that. Right in front of the referee.
Oh, referee's been kind on her there, because I was expecting a card to come out. Not that I wanted to, but I was thinking, oh, that's a silly one to give away in the type of game, the result that they have right now, because it could come to haunt her. But look, she's got away with it. She's got away with it. Because you don't get many opportunities within Champions League to get the yellow card. You know, once you start building up, then you're going to be missing games. But fortunately enough for her, that's not going to matter.
Baldi with Sabatino in the box. Vigilucci's arriving as well. The offside flag goes up against Sabatino. She was the player who got the 95th minute winner against Slavia to book Fiorentina's place in this round. Had fractionally gone offside, came back from an offside position, I think.
He's working hard to try and keep his team in this game, isn't he? You know, with regards to how vocal he is on the side of the pitch right now, the head coach there. He is organisationally trying to get them to press higher. You can see the arm movement, you can see the encouragement. But it's not quite working for them. You know, they are working extremely hard in the shape that they're in. But City is still managing to control this game right now.
WSL side 6-0 up on aggregate. Adami. City seeking to continue their good away form here as well. They've won 5 away matches in a row in all competitions. That's since a defeat on penalties to Manchester United in the Continental Cup back in November. 18 goals scored and 3 conceded in those 5 away wins in a row. The last victory on their travels, 4-0 at Birmingham in the WSL. I don't know about you, Jane, but for me there's been a noticeable difference in this City side post-Christmas, if you like. It looks like a lot's clicked for me, and I think Dahlkemper coming in has helped improve things as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did start the season probably a little bit slower than they would have liked. Obviously, a new way of working, new manager, etc., new players coming into the environment can take a little bit of time for people to settle. Not that I think they did badly in any shape or form, but I think their levels probably weren't as high as they are right now. And I'm sure it's an area that they want to still keep improving on as the season progresses.
Walsh. Stanway. How hard is that initial process when you come into a job as a head coach, when inevitably you'll want to do things perhaps slightly differently to the person who's come in before? How hard is it to get those messages across?
Oh, look, that will depend on lots and lots of things. The type of personalities you have within the group, you know, who those people are. For me, you know, the game's about people. You're working with people. You know, they're not robots. You have to get to know them. You have to understand what makes them tick, you know, what motivates them, etc. And same, vice versa, players to coach. You know, it's a two-way thing. It's the relationship building, and it can take a bit more time than people expect. But look, you're talking about somebody who's been in the club a long time, as in the head coach Gareth Taylor, so he knows a way of working in a sense of culturally how the club works. So, you know, a new coach coming into that environment could have those challenges as well. But look, it's clicked for them. It's been positive. They're obviously understanding what he wants and the standards he's setting, and I agree. I think they've progressed as the season's gone on.
Dahlkemper. Lavelle. Stanway. Zanoli. Vigilucci.
Yes, a trend we're seeing in the game from Fiorentina. They're kind of getting up to kind of middle third area of the pitch in a wide area, and then they're giving possession away again. You know, it's that short build-up play in those areas, but they're losing possession too easily, and we see City back on the attack and in control possession in the opposition half once again.
Greenwood. Hemp. Cleland. Played first time by Midak. Tuursen, great first touch to get her away from Esme Morgan now. Could they hit back before half-time here, Fiorentina? Tuursen with the ball in towards Baldi, prods towards goal, and it was just wide. Best move they put together.
Yeah, completely agree, and what a good opportunity there. Again, unfortunately for Baldi, not getting that finish right, and a great break by Tuursen. If you think back to the game last week, I think she was probably one of the standout players for Fiorentina, wasn't she? Definitely in the second half, and she's doing it again today for them. Good opportunity here for them, but not quite getting the finish on target. Bit of a toe poke in the end, wasn't it, from Baldi having to take that decision really quickly because of the pressure from the defenders.
We cast our minds back, as you were saying, Jane, to that first game. It was Tuursen who had that wonderful chance in the second half when the scoreline was still at 2-0. Fired it wide when effectively one-on-one really with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think she was one of the players definitely from a Fiorentina perspective who came out with a lot of credit last week.
Lavelle. Final minute then of normal time at the end of this first half, one that's gone very well indeed for Manchester City. They're absolutely flying in the WSL right now, 9 league games in a row. They've won, scoring 33 goals in the process. What a title race they're in with Chelsea, who sit just 2 points above them, but still have to go to the Academy Stadium. And the focus very much on Europe today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great end to the season, isn't it? And we were chatting earlier about both ends of the table with regards to the UWCL. It's going to be a really good competition, and looking forward to those latter stages games.
I've got to say how enjoyable the game at Ashton Gate was on Monday night. Bristol City started the night bottom of the table, beating Reading by 3 goals to 2. It's the best WSL game I've seen this season. I don't know if there's been another one that I've not seen that's better, but it was absolutely wonderful entertainment, and on International Women's Day as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're a neutral, you would have enjoyed the game. If you were partisan and supporting either of the teams, there would have been moments there that you wouldn't have been very happy with.
City doing very well, though, at the Artemio Franchi. 3 to the good at half-time. Ellen White's got 2 of them. Caroline Weir converting from the spot as well. 6-0 they lead on aggregate. A very good first half from City. We'll look back at it in a moment. Jane Ludlow alongside me, the former Arsenal midfielder. We'll see with interest who's withdrawn here by Gareth Taylor, because he's clearly concerned as to how many minutes get in the legs of his players with so many big games ahead for them.
Yes, look, it's a very important time of the season, isn't it? You know, they're competing on different fronts here, and obviously this game you'd assume is in the bag right now, and they're through to the next round, so good opportunity to give others some game time.
How must it feel for those Fiorentina players and their head coach Antonio Cincotta? 3-0 down, 6-0 on aggregate, and you see Sam Mewis coming on. You want to pick up the ball and go home, wouldn't you?
Yeah, to be fair, you wouldn't want to be him right now, would you? No, look, in all seriousness, I think we've spoken before about the strength and depth of the City squad, and yeah, it's working very well for them this season, and they're utilising the playing group well so far, aren't they?
So Hemp is one of those who's been taken off, and Caroline Weir is the other. Sam Mewis, who scored as a substitute in the first leg, has had such an influence. I think I could say with some conviction that she settled the best of all the US World Cup winners that we've seen come to the WSL. Huge presence in that midfield, such an athlete as well, isn't she?
Yes, look, she is the one that's had the regular minutes over the last few months and is doing very, very well.
So we hope to see more goals from Manchester City. They certainly have a hunger for that, it's clear to see. Fiorentina to just keep this competitive in terms of the second half. The tie surely done now. Sam Mewis sees her first involvement and looked to try and beat the goalkeeper at the near post, but touched wide by Schroffenegger.
Yeah, looking at her driving through then, I thought, oh, she's going to square this, because actually I think there were 2 City players getting in around the 6-yard, but look, she obviously saw an angle there to try and beat the goalkeeper, and you wouldn't judge her on it. You know, she scored a few so far this season, I believe, or she set up a few. I do remember some of those.
Yeah, 5 goals in the league so far this season for Sam Mewis. Scored important goals in cup competitions as well. Opener in the FA Cup final, keeps the medal by her bedside table, she says. Into the near post it goes, and read by the goalkeeper Schroffenegger.
Yeah, not a great delivery on this, obviously a little bit short. They have Ellen White there, looking to arrive just in front of that near post, but probably not the type of delivery they were expecting. A bit more height on it might have helped.
Mewis. Morgan. Lifelong City fan, Esme Morgan, as are her parents. Apparently they couldn't bring themselves to shout "Come on Everton" when she had that loan spell on Merseyside.
Well, look, it's a great thing for her and her family now where they see she's at, and obviously I'm sure she's going to keep progressing. Good future ahead. They're hoping, obviously, in the colours of Manchester City.
Good to see local players in the side as well. Here's one of them in the side in the midfield, Kira Walsh, who other player who grew up a City fan, born in Rochdale. Chloe Kelly. Gareth Taylor said after the first leg there is no limit to the potential of Chloe Kelly. Said he's seen a big improvement in her since she arrived at the club, particularly in terms of her decision making.
Yeah, and she's a player that's been impacted by various coaches over the last few years, you know, in different environments, and I've only ever heard people speak highly of her in that sense. So lots of potential to still come out, I'm sure, and a young player who's taken the opportunity that's coming in front of her right now, obviously doing well from a national team perspective and club perspective.
Mewis, Kelly, Morgan's got into the box. Kelly coming inside and looking to bend one. Volley clearance was by Adami. Stanway, Walsh, Becky, Stanway, Greenwood,
look forward, I'll look forward.
Dahlkemper, Lavelle, skip past the challenge of Adami and then past another two as well.
There's some tired legs out there in the purple shirts right now in their midfield line. Look, they're playing like that 5-3-2 organisation, but when City is switching the ball, they're struggling to get across the park right now. You know, lots of bodies in and around them, managing to get the ball back here, but because of that energy they're exerting defensively, if you just look now, there's no movement to try and be a pass option from them. So it's, again, they've lost possession too easily.
Becky with a chance to cross, just rather behind Ellen White. Sarah Baldi who headed clear, and Mewis competing with Sabatino for it. Cleland, Kelly, Morgan, Kelly to Mewis, and it was challenged from Louise Quinn, and last touch was off Kelly, and it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, strong challenge there, fair challenge by the look of it, but obviously it's hurt Chloe Kelly, who's a physical one, but a fair one. I'm not sure if boot came up at the end this quarter, or it's just literally it's got an ankle on ankle moment by the look of it.
A tough competitor, Louise Quinn, won a league title with Arsenal in England. Remember Joe Montemuro, a coach at Arsenal, described her as a world-class defender, Irish international. It will be so frustrating for her as somebody who's more than capable of playing at City's level in the WSL, in a team now up against them who clearly collectively aren't at City's level.
No, having watched them, you know, in the two legs of this competition, they have struggled with the tempo that City have played at, and obviously the technical ability of the opponents they've come up against. You know, they've done well in spells, but look, as we're seeing now, that in possession game, the awareness when they're receiving the balls, etc., hasn't been good enough to compete at this level.
Cleland, not by Greenwood, so now it's Mewis.
Look, it's a challenge for any of the teams in Europe who, when they're coming up against the level of the teams like Manchester City, Chelsea, who we've spoken about already today. I think it is kind of a different level of playing field, isn't it, with regards to the level of player that's within both environments right now. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to Fiorentina players, because they are good level players, but I think when you look at the opponents, and you know there's World Cup winners there, it's a slightly different level that you're talking about.
Changes of foot, it would seem, from Antonio Cincotta. Kira Walsh has got an important role to play in front of the City defence, but creates chances as well. 4 she created against Everton at the weekend, more than any other City player. Lavelle now releases Becky. Ellen White on a hat-trick in the box. Mewis on the edge of the area, but it was overran by the Canadian international.
Oh, final touch from her there, wasn't it? Oh, if she'd have kept that a little bit closer, they were in again. Potentially, she could have had an opportunity with a strikeout goal, or obviously setting her teammates up there. Really good break. I think it was Rose Lavelle who turned, played into the space. Good movement from Janine Becky on the right-hand side, but just that heavy touch didn't help her, did it?
It's been an unused sub in the last 2 games since the She Believes Cup, Janine Becky, but could be a very useful player down that right-hand side in what remains of the season. I think Jane mentioned earlier, capable, as we saw last season, of playing at right back. Lucy Bronze will have that covered, but you never know with potential injury situations, do you? Walsh. Morgan. Dahlkemper. Walsh. Rose Lavelle. Walsh. Mewis. Morgan. Kelly. Looking for Ellen White. Louise Quinn heads clear. Well off target in the end. Stanway with the shot.
Manchester City just showing there how in control they are when they have possession of the ball, you know, switching play effectively, get an opportunity on goal again. Just seeing the change here from Fiorentina. Can it make a difference?
Baldi being taken off, and it's Martina Piemonte who's going to come. Ellen White, Walsh, lovely feet to get her away from Midag. Now Mewis. Kelly up against Tours. Kelly's played a lovely ball in there, and almost Becky on the end of it.
Oh, I'm surprised she didn't jump there. Or maybe it was the post that put her off, or she thought it was going straight in, maybe. Oh yeah, it's the post, isn't it? I think she looks at that going, if I'm going to jump, I'm going to headbutt the post as well. But what a good opportunity to get a goal from her.
Clellants. Sabatino. Who is taking away from Clellants. Fiorentina highly unlikely to be in next season's Champions League, way off the pace in Serie A, 22 points behind the defending champions Juventus, 16 points behind Milan, who sits second. Only the top 2 qualify for the Champions League in Italy. It's going to be the 3rd occasion when they've been knocked out by a WSL club. This Chelsea beat them 7-0 in the round of 16 in 2018. They lost 6-0 to Arsenal in the round of 32 in 2019. Great feat that from Mewis. 10 gone in the second half. Manchester City 6-0 up on aggregate. Kelly with White in the middle. Becky making her way into the area too. Kelly goes on and looks to them one, but got right underneath it.
Yeah, and look, what we've seen in the league so far is she usually takes those opportunities. She loves to front up a defender in 1v1 situation here. Does really well to take it on the inside, but then obviously doesn't get the detail right on her finish here. Tries to open it up, obviously defend around in the far corner, but a little bit too much on it.
Mewis. Kelly seeing a lot of the ball since coming on. Lay off by Clellants. Piemonte. Tourson. Morgan. Stanway. Lavelle. Morgan. Kelly. Mewis. So hard to shake off the ball. Sam Mewis just holds people off with relative ease.
Yes, and for such a player with big stature, you know, she's physically fantastic, but I think you'd be surprised that she's actually probably one of the best in the world technically as well, and obviously you add awareness into that. That's why she is one of the top players, but physically she's a player when you come up against, there's going to be one heck of a challenge for anybody in the league or in the Champions League this year.
I was reading Megan Rapinoe says that she thinks she's the best player in the USA side right now, which is a very big compliment, isn't it, from Rapinoe to Mewis. Threads it through, looking for Sabatino, but Dahlkemper cut it out.
Yeah, she's a player who's transitioned into kind of the Man City style of play really easily. We mentioned earlier, you know, how many minutes she's had in the league so far and how effective she's been. I think, you know, as a central midfield player, she's kind of an all-round midfielder. She could do the defensive bits and pieces. She can mix it with people. She's obviously very good aerially, one to do with her size and her technique, but she's really good with her feet. And we're just seeing her here lay her off to Chloe Kelly on the left-hand side. She's back in possession again. And, you know, she's a player, to be fair, I've admired for many years, watching the national team, watching the US team, and obviously the exploits that they've managed to continue to do over many years, and she's been a big part of that.
White with the shot that sailed over. She'll be keen to get a hat-trick. Ellen White got one for England, didn't she, in that 6-0 win over Northern Ireland just recently. Her first senior international hat-trick, and it was Stanway who played it in here.
Yeah, good opportunity. And what we are seeing from Ellen White these days in the league and in this competition is she's happy to take on those one-touch strikes, you know, timing her movement well to get in the right area at the right time, and then happy to and confident to take that one-touch opportunity and try and threaten the goalkeepers.
It was a second-place finish for City last season, beaten to the title in England by Chelsea on PPG, eliminated from the Champions League at the last 16 stage. Still everything bar the Continental Cup for them to play for this season, though, and there'll be City fans looking forward to that draw tomorrow as Mewis has a go. And in it goes for number 4, Sam Mewis, like she did in the first leg, off the bench and onto the score sheet in the second half, driving forward as she does so effectively.
Yeah, what I liked about this, where she positioned herself at the start was just on the outside shoulder of that midfield three of Fiorentina. Manages to pick the ball up, good pass into her, and then obviously uses the space in front of her. The strike didn't seem to have much power on it. Goalkeeper seemed to see it late, though. Obviously, you know, you look back and you'd question, could goalkeeper have done more, moved her feet a little bit quickly and dealt with that? But look, take nothing away from Sam Mewis. She's done really well there, exposed the space that was available to her and took the shot on.
6 goals in 7 appearances now for City for Sam Mewis. And you know, when you look at City and the differences, Jane, between the side that of course reached the last 4 of this competition, their best performance, Sam Mewis for me is one of the players that you look at and say she's the type of signing that could potentially take them to that next level where they could go on and maybe win this competition.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree. I think there are, you know, much tougher tests to come with the teams who are left in this competition. But you are right to look the level of player that she is and what she brings to the team and how she's changed how this team can play is definitely going to be an asset in the latter stages of this competition.
We have 2 very well equipped English sides in the last 8 of the Women's Champions League. It's going to be so fascinating to see how it unfolds on BT Sport. Some real big hitters, as well as the 2 English clubs in the last 8. Holders, Lyon and Wolfsburg and Bayern. Paris surely will go through as well. It's going to be a fascinating draw tomorrow. Cleland.
Yes, please, Paul. Oh,
Laura Coombs is going to be coming on. Going to see one of the youngsters brought along today here as well. Teenager Millie Davis is going to be brought on too for what will be her Champions League debut. Kelly up against Tourson. Mewis crossing towards Becky, who heads wide.
Chloe, 7.
Again, Sam Mewis being the deliverer in at this time, you know, good opportunity again for City. You know, they are finding it very easily, aren't they, to get into the final third and create some scoring opportunities again.
So with a shade over an hour gone, it's Ellen White who's going to make way here for Millie Davis, who has made 4 sub-appearances in the WSL this season, only a total of 43 minutes on the pitch, but she'll get around half an hour here to impress. A Champions League debut. It must be a proud moment when you make your debut in this competition.
Great moment for any player, look, especially if you're a young player. Fantastic opportunity, you know, a relevant scoreline, etc. You're getting on the pitch, Champions League, you know, some good opponents, even though they haven't managed to get to the level they would have wanted to in the 2 legs. You know, it is latter stages of the Champions League. It's a great opportunity for younger players to come in and compete.
A swap in central midfield as well, with Laura Coombs coming on to replace Kira Walsh, whose minutes will be managed for a little while yet as she continues her return from a hamstring injury. She's so important to the way City play, Kira Walsh, that they'll be very keen to make sure that she stays fit between the end of the season. Greenwood, Morgan, Coombs, Becky, Mewis, who's now wearing the armband after Ellen White was taken off, and she's found Chloe Kelly here. Lavelle's in the middle, and it almost found Stanway, and it does find Mewis. Lavelle. Davis couldn't quite get there. Happy to make do with the corner. It's Greenwood who's running all the way over here to take this. .25 minutes to go at the Artemio Franchi. Goalkeeper came a long way to try and get something on there. Cleland. Adami. Someone who's won 4 major honours with Fiorentina. They won a League and Cup double as recently as 2017. It's very much Juventus who've now become the dominant force, though, in women's football in Italy, closely followed by Milan. Ball right in front of the referee.
Yeah, I don't think she was going to get away with that one, was she?
Well, the referee there telling Greenwood to wait for the whistle, and Greenwood saying why. And I can understand that. Players must get frustrated by that as to why they do have to wait for the referee's whistle for the other team to be set. I've always thought maybe it's the attacking team's prerogative, isn't it, as to when they want to take it anyway. And it goes.
Poor delivery there. We were talking up that free kick a little bit, weren't we? You know, we were building that. Maybe it shows why they shouldn't stop an attacking-minded player when they want to play quickly. That type of delivery.
Stand on that. We saw a bit of that in the Premier League just recently, didn't we? With Brighton, as to whether the attacking team should have to wait for the referee's whistle. Comes off the heel of Cleland. Coombs. Darkemper. It's in it for the long haul at City. Dar Kemper signed a 2.5-year contract. It's not just come for a short period of time. Very much a commitment from her to the club.
Yeah, I think it's fab. You know, when we did see some of the US players coming over and on short-term deals, look, I think it was a great thing, however long they're here for, because of the level of player they are and what they can give a club and the players around them. But even better if they are staying longer term and help, you know, grow the club environment and share their expertise and a way of working. Because look, what those players do bring is when you think culturally in the environments they've been in for many years, they're winners. You know, everything they do is probably at a very high standard, and if they can share that with younger players in particular, then it's a fantastic thing for any of the clubs that those players are involved with.
Piemonte. Tours. Cordia. Coombs. Back here by Kelly to Becky. As I mentioned earlier, the draw for the quarter-finals tomorrow. The first legs are scheduled for the 23rd and 24th of March. The second legs due to take place 31st of March and 1st of April. Stanway. Morgan. Coombs. Shot deflected wide, and it'll be a corner for City.
It is interesting watching Georgia Stanway now playing as the centre forward rather than obviously the right back where she started today. But look, she's capable of playing in both positions, good awareness, and her movement's really good. In that last instance there, her timing of movement in and around the back line is good. It'll be interesting to see if she can manage to bag a goal in that position in the last 20 minutes.
It's clear by the goalkeeper, only as far as Stanway. Decided to put her foot through that.
I've just been bigging her up, and she's not going to bag a goal with a finish like that, but I'm sure she'll have another opportunity. Yeah, she's a player that I enjoy watching, to be fair, whatever position she plays in a sense of her attributes, what she gives, what she brings to the game. You know, she's a play forwards type of player in a sense of always wanted to utilise that opportunity if the space opens up. And as I've mentioned already, you know, technically very gifted. And obviously she's an intelligent player because of the ability she has to move between different positions and still do the roles effectively.
A big night of Europa League action coming up for you on our channel. Some great ties involving the English clubs. That's perhaps the pick of the bunch. Manchester United against AC Milan at Old Trafford. Tea time kickoff for that one on BT Sport 1. One of Rangers, how well they've done, secured the title at the weekend in Scotland. And they've been doing brilliantly in Europe as well. A tough challenge that though against Slavia Prague, who eliminated Leicester in the previous round. Arsenal up against the Greek side Olympiakos. Tonight from 7:30. Really needs a result in that, don't they? Arsenal and Tottenham up against Dinamo Zagreb on BT Sport ESPN. That from 7:30 tonight. Do enjoy that Europa League action tonight. To spare a thought for Fiorentina, who are heading out of the Champions League, heading for a 4th defeat in a row, and their next game is against the Italian champions Juventus, who have a 100% record in Serie A this season.
Yeah, tough task for them at the moment. Look, they're still committed to this game. They're working hard. Look, they've put a shift in. They have struggled to pressurise this Manchester City team. And obviously when they have gained possession, they've lost it far too easily, but they are coming up against a top team in Manchester City today.
Kelly. The back of Clellan, but manages to keep hold of it. Davis. Morgan. Coombs. Becky. Kelly. Mewis. Kelly going on the outside, and there's a cross in towards Stanway and Rose Lavelle. Movement here from Coombs. Not used though by Chloe Kelly, who drifts inside. Stanway wanted it, was fired in quite quickly at Mewis. Kelly again, this time decides to have a go, but hasn't quite had her shooting boots on since coming on at half-time.
No, and I think, you know, if you look at the last 10 minutes, that the tempo's gone out of the game a little bit, hasn't it? I think when we reflect on the first half, Manchester City obviously came into the game, got the tempo up, got what they wanted early on, bagged a few goals, and have been in control ever since. And look, we're watching Rose Lavelle. She's got the best feet ever, hasn't she? She manipulates that ball with lots of different parts of her foot there, and technically very gifted.
Interesting to see with Lavelle whether she can really truly come to the fore in the remainder of this season. Big game player, as we've seen many times with the USA, and City are going to have some big games coming up as well. Big question as to whether she will get in Gareth Taylor's first choice 11. I think probably at the moment the evidence that we've seen in terms of his previous selections would suggest not.
It's an intriguing one, because when you look at players in different environments and the different ways they do perform, and obviously it's partly potentially culturally and how that environment does suit that individual, and it just could be that it's going to take a little bit more time here for her to settle into the way of working.
Kelly first to the loose ball, but sliding in was Adami.
And look, going back to the Rose Lavelle chat, at the end of the day, her national team do play differently, you know, organisationally, and how they attack, the structure they have, the responsibility she has as an individual is different to what City ask of her generally, and that will have an impact, but I'm sure she will be able to adapt.
So Kelly to take this. Stanway on the edge of the box. Becky's there too. Out to Coombs, and now it's Stanway. Stanway again. Couldn't find Dahlkemper, as now Fiorentina look to go on the counter-attack. Cleland. Support arriving as Cleland looked to thread one through for Tours. Had to be weighted perfectly and wasn't.
Janine Becky doing really, really well to recover quickly there, but then obviously had a lot more time than she was expecting to have. So a needless corner, we'd say, here from a City perspective.
Cleland coming across to take it. Born in Perth in Scotland. Scored in the nation's 2-1 loss to Japan, you might remember, at the 2019 World Cup. Shade under a quarter of an hour to go. Coombs, who headed clear for City. Slice clearance by Greenwood. Louise Quinn was underneath. Volley clear then by Janine Becky. Clash of heads there. Good to see them both seemingly all right. Greenwood and Quinn, well known to each other, of course.
Yeah, Fiorentina obviously leaving centre-back Quinn higher up the park there to try and get some second phase off her, but not quite happening for them. Yeah, that's pretty much the tale of the two legs, isn't it? Unfortunately for the Italian team.
I was reading an interview with Louise Quinn, who said how she had a teacher when she was 7 called Miss Slattery in her native island, who sent a note home with a mum that just said, "You're good at football, you're better than any of the boys. And she said her mum always kept it, always offered a bit of an inspiration. It shows you how important teachers at that stage of a children's life can be, doesn't it? How it can help shape them going forwards, give them inspiration. Here's Rose Lavelle with Davis in support as well, as Mewis makes her way into the middle. Morgan's pass, Lavelle. Cleland couldn't make it stick, and now it's with Morgan, challenged by Greenwood. Cleland has stayed down from that. Mewis to Stanway, can they add a fifth here? And Mewis gets on the end of that, and she does add a fifth. A five-star performance here from Manchester City, who are sailing through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League.
Yeah, good play. Look, we see Chloe Kelly putting it unselfishly back across the goal, and then who is Sam Mewis arriving just at the right point again. And look, it's poor defending from Fiorentina. You know, they're not aware of the blue shirts that are around them. Look, it just adds to the control, I think, and what we've seen through the two ties of how in control Manchester City have been.
Cleland on the end of that challenge a moment or so ago from Greenwood, who's replaced here by Breitner, who's very much a ball-winning, tigerish defensive type midfielder. Jen, you were the skipper of the last and only English side to win this competition 14 years on from that Arsenal success. Having seen Chelsea, having seen City both domestically and in Europe this season, are you optimistic that we can see a WSL side do it again in 2021?
I'd love to think that it can happen, but I do know there's some good quality teams left in this competition. I'm just looking forward to the games because I think they're going to be ultra competitive. And they're going to be fairly tight, you know. Sometimes in the competition, in the earlier stages in particular, you get big score lines. You know, we're looking at one today, but I think in the latter stages now, you're going to see a lot tighter results between the level of teams that are there. It'd be nice to think that another UK-based team can do it, another English club can do it. You know, I'm very thankful that we managed to after a fair few years of trying. And it was great for the club, you know, and it was great for that set of players, that group of players at the time, and they're great memories for us all to look back and reflect on, and they were fantastic moments in our careers. And probably at the time we didn't realise how special it was. I'll be honest with you. I think that year, that season, we won the quadruple, and you know, that generation within Arsenal, we were very successful. We worked really hard. We enjoyed each other's company. You know, we enjoyed being on the team together and playing together, and we had lots of success. And I think at times it became a bit like the norm. And only having retired and reflecting back, do you realise how important those moments were.
Here's Coombs as we move into the final 10 minutes. There really is such confidence, such momentum about Manchester City right now, both domestically and in Europe, as Mewis plays forward for Rose Lavelle and now Kelly. So many of the individuals in this side look like they're playing confidence-wise towards the top of their game, really. It's got to bode well for them. So different this, isn't it, for City from the competition last season. Suffered a very costly second leg defeat at this stage, drew 1-1 with Atletico in the first leg, beat them 2-1 in Spain. Angela Sosa got Atleti's winner. 8-0 up on this occasion. Completely different story. It's Mannion's touch, good to see her come on and get some minutes. Of course, has played so little for Manchester City. I thought that looked a really good signing from Birmingham, and it could eventually turn out to be, but she's had rotten luck with injuries, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been out a long time, unfortunately, for her. I believe it's a knee ligament injury, but nice, as I agree, it's nice to see her back on the pitch, and I'm sure her levels will keep growing now if she manages to get more minutes over the coming months.
I can understand that little outburst, I have to say. He's done well to keep that in for 82 minutes.
Yeah, I'm having a little giggle here. I'm just because I felt those moments. That's all I'd say. And look, yeah, it's going to be a frustrating one for him. You know, nobody wants to lose by this margin, but I'm sure he looked back and his team were outplayed today, and there's a quality of the opponent that was a level above what Fiorentina have been able to bring to this tie. But look, it's a case of them developing and trying to get something out of the rest of the season for them. You've mentioned that they're not potentially playing at the level they have been in previous seasons because they are further down the league, but I'm sure he'll just want his players to develop, and even from the rest of this game, keep working hard and keep giving him what he needs, and that's, you know, get out there and perform and do the things he's asking to do.
Lyon, the current holders, so dominant for so long in this competition. They've won it 5 seasons running. They're being given a real run for their money in the French top flight this season. Paris, top of the league after 15 games by a point. They're unbeaten. Lyon have lost once to Paris in November. It finished 1-0. Winning 5 finals in a row, Lyon have beaten Wolfsburg 3 times, Paris and Barcelona. Will the French and European champions make it 6 in a row this season? Or will there be maybe a bit of a changing of the guard this season? We'll see.
Well, the draw is going to be really interesting. Really, really interested to see who's pulled out against each other.
Lavelle and Mewis. That time didn't get the contact that she would have wanted.
Yeah, good opportunity for her again. Obviously decides to take it with the one-touch finish there. Could have probably brought it down and driven more towards the goal, but made the decision early, but straight at the goalkeeper, who's probably really relieved to see that come in straight at her.
Dalkamp. Mentioned Jane's side that won the competition 14 years ago. I was having a look back at some of the other players in that team the other day. So Georgia Stanway decides to have a go and it's deflected. Names like Katie Chapman, Anita Asante, Rachel Yankee, Karen Carney, Faye White, Alex Scott got the winner in the final. Must have been a good team to captain.
Yeah, do you know, when I think back to the because it was two-legged affair then, you know, it was an interesting one for us as a team because we missed some players that season. Kelly missed the final because of some cards she picked up before. Kelly Smith, obviously Faye had been out all season with ACL injury. So we had a team that we had players playing out of position, but we actually had a fantastic season, and those players really did step up to the mark. You know, and Anita being one you mentioned. Anita Asante obviously played in the back line for us that season, where she was known as more of a central midfielder at the time. And yeah, it was just a great squad to be a part of. You know, whoever was playing, whoever was in and around, you know, we had young players there, you know, the likes of Kaz Carney, etc. And it was a fantastic moment to be involved with the club, to be fair.
There'll be a similar type of moment for either Manchester City or Chelsea this season. Both squads so stacked with both British and international talent. Was the current Arsenal side up against it in terms of qualifying for next year's expanded Champions League, a top 3 finish required in the league. Currently fourth, 6 points behind Manchester United, although they have a game in hand and they still have to play Casey Stoney's team at Meadow Park. That will be live on BT Sport next Friday.
Yeah, they've had a season where they haven't really hit the mark, have they, so far? But a few games left to play.
Lewis looking to get on the end of this, but well, wide it goes.
Again, we see Chloe Kelly driving down the right-hand side. Good, good decision to pull it back there. Tough one for Sam Lewis to deal with, bouncing as it came in. Obviously a bit too difficult for her in that instance.
Lavelle controlled that beautifully. Offside flag up. Just gone a little early there, I think, Davis. Should have enjoyed this experience, though, from the bench in the Champions League. Yeah, it was the right decision, but great for one of the young players to get a taste of Champions League action.
Yeah, and I think it's important, if you have youngsters coming in from the academy environment, the youth teams, and getting these opportunities. It's got to be fantastic if you're in that environment, because you're going to have opportunities if you are doing the right things and you're progressing and you're committed to what the coaches are asking of you. Then there are opportunities there. Even with the likes of the World Cup stars that we've mentioned a few times today already, being in the squad, those younger players are getting opportunities as well.
It's so important that they soak up the knowledge of those players as well, the youngsters. As Mewis here fires it in, and no one could touch that home. Any sort of touch, and it would have been 6.
Yeah, it's been opportunity after opportunity, hasn't it? Ball in the defensive third for Fiorentina again, and they do enough to stop any goal opportunity here, but I think it's more accidental with regards to positioning of players, because those blue shirts did have a good opportunity to get on the end of that there, didn't they?
This could have been so much more severe when you think about it, really, for Fiorentina. It's 8-0 aggregate. City could easily have scored 7 or 8 today. Morgan, the top scorers in the WSL. They are going to be a serious threat to whoever they draw in the quarterfinals of this competition. Draw taking place tomorrow in Nyon in Switzerland at the UEFA headquarters.
Yes, some very interesting ties to come in the next few weeks.
Well, no added time, something of a mercy whistle, you might call it. With City winning the game by 5 goals to 0.